Should the Titans trade for Kyle Pitts, the veteran tight end that we've all been burned on in fantasy? That's what we're talking about on the show. Welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper. Earlier this week, Jordan Schultz, he tweeted out that multiple teams have reached out to the Falcons about the availability of Kyle Pitts. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Now, nothing is imminent, and Atlanta would prefer to keep him, but I'm told it would take a serious day 2 pick to even spark serious talk. So after all those rumors came out talking about, maybe teams are trying to trade for Kyle Pitts, Bleacher Report came out with an article of specific teams that could use him, and one of the teams that was listed was the Tennessee Titans. They said this in the article: a fresh start could benefit both the Titans and Will Levis. Why Will Levis? Well, perhaps the two parties could find one by flipping Levis to the Falcons as part of a package for Pitts. Why would Atlanta be interested in Levis when it has second-year quarterback Michael Penix on the roster? Well, the short answer is that if the Falcons manage to move Kirk Cousins, at some point, it'll need some additional depth behind Penix. And when I saw this, I was kind of just like, you're throwing away Will Levis. Yeah, you have your starting quarterback in Cam Ward, so that makes sense for me. Kyle Pitts, solid numbers throughout his career in Atlanta, but it's been a disappointment, I'm not going to lie. But there's also been things like, he doesn't fit in Atlanta's system. He's been held back from all his quarterbacks. But now he's got Michael Penix for his first full year, so we might see a breakout season for Pitts. And we could see that breakout season if he was traded to Tennessee. If you get a guy like Kyle Pitts, he immediately becomes a big target for Cam Ward. We've seen in OTAs just how big of a target Calvin Ridley has been for the rookie quarterback. This would gradually get a veteran guy in here. You got Ridley on one side, and you got Pitts on the line of scrimmage going out for tight end. Yeah, that'd be an absolute threat. They said more of this in the article. For the Titans, Pitts would immediately upgrade Ward's supporting cast. Yeah, that's what I just said. Tennessee has a vastly underrated tight end in Chig Okonkwo, but some questionable receiver depth behind Calvin Ridley. Pitts could give Ward another playmaker in 2 tight end sets or a big slot receiver in Brian Callahan's offense. Now, before I go in kind of break all this down, I want to ask you guys, would you want Kyle Pitts on the Titans? Type Y for yes, type N for no. And if not, let me know down in the comments just why you wouldn't want him, because he would easily be a top target for Cam Ward. Now, if you look at the stats for Pitts, they've been solid throughout the last couple of years. 2021, that was his big year when he had 1,000 yards receiving, but it's gradually just been not bad, but good. And if you compare him to your current tight end one, well, yeah, Pitts has a wide variety, goes way down the field than Chig Okonkwo, but Okonkwo has 52 catches. A big difference, big discrepancy in yardage and average. 2 touchdowns, but a big one on that. Only 1 drop for Chig. And if you look at the tight end depth chart, well, you are pretty deep there. You got Chig, then Josh Whyle, which I truly don't know what Tennessee will do with him going forward. But the one person, and you drafted him in the early rounds, you drafted him on the 3rd day. Gunnar Helm out of Texas. And this guy is big, 6'5", 240, and he can catch the ball. 60 catches in his final season with the Longhorns, 786 yards, 13.1, 7 touchdowns. You drafted him thinking that he's going to be one of your top receivers for your new QB, and if you go out and you trade for Pitts, it just really doesn't make sense to me why you would draft him unless you kind of have this bigger picture down the line of, hey, maybe we'll use him in the future for 2 years. We'll develop him for a couple years. I don't know if you want to trade for a guy like Kyle Pitts. Now, with this contract, it's in his final year. So you trade for him. This would be a 1-year rental. And there's a possibility that he just might say, I don't feel like playing for Tennessee now. I'm going to go out, see the free agent market, especially if he goes off. He's going to want a lot more money, and we'll get into the Titans salary cap situation later in the show. But $10.88 million, you're taking all of that cap. You have the money, but do you really want to trade your future for a guy for a 1-year rental when you have no idea? We've seen Kyle Pitts. This is going to be another year on the books. 5th year, I think it is. He's played 4 years in the NFL, and every year we talk about this is going to be the breakout year. This is going to be the breakout year. But it never comes. Like, the idea or the hope of Kyle Pitts has become greater. It's just like that, oh, this is going to happen, but it's never happened. That's what Kyle Pitts is now. It's just a myth, a folktale. He's going to be a great tight end, top 5 tight end. But we have yet to see that. We haven't seen that at all out of Pitts, and I don't know if we're ever going to see it now that he's going into probably his 5th season in the NFL. But if the Titans were to trade for Pitts, this is what Bleacher Report came up with. Give a 2026 third-round pick, a 2026 7th-round pick, and Will Levis, and you get the tight end out of Florida. Would you do this trade? I'm on the fence about it. You're giving a lot of future up, and those second-day picks are extremely, extremely valuable in today's NFL. Let me know down in the comments. Type A for accept or type D for decline. Now, before I tell you guys what I would do with that trade, go and get your Cam Ward jerseys. He's your number 1 wide receiver. They're talking about trading Will Levis now. That's how you know he's going to be the starter, your number 1 pick overall. Get your jersey today, chatsports.com/Ward. If you don't feel like typing that in the comments, you can go and we'll have that for you in the comments and description of today's video, chatsports.com/Ward. For me, I'm absolutely declining this pick. I am declining this in a heartbeat. You have multiple draft picks and you have multiple tight ends where a 3rd-round pick, I'm not giving up a 3rd-round pick for potential. And this is potential that we've been talking about since 2021, since 2022, since 2023. 2024, and now it's 2025. Every single year we talk about this is what Kyle Pitts could be, not this is what Kyle Pitts is. Not doing it. Not sending a 3rd-round pick. Now if we go into the later picks, a 4th or a 5th, that's when you're kind of speaking my language here, Atlanta. That's when I'm like, all right, now we're talking. Now this could be a draft pick where I'm like, yeah, I'd make that trade. You get rid of Will Levis. You still have Brandon Allen on the bench as your backup quarterback, solid backup. Get Will Levis out of here. He gets a new, fresh start, and you bring in the culture with your new quarterback, Cam Ward. And you take on that salary cap of $10 million for Kyle Pitts, but you have $30.1 million. So you could easily bring in that contract, and you still have $20 million left in salary. So you could go out and sign whatever free agent that you want with the salary cap that you have left. And I think it would be great. You're going to run a lot of 12 personnel in the NFL with Chig Okonkwo and Kyle Pitts. And I think that would help Cam Ward develop. He has more weapons to throw to. He's not going to be locked all the way in on Calvin Ridley. Yeah, you have Tyler Lockett, you have Van Jefferson, you have Alec Manor, and you got the undrafted free agent Xavier Estrepo, which I guarantee is going to make this roster spot with the chemistry that he has with Ward back in Miami. It just adds another type of weapon. And the one specific thing is I know quarterbacks love tight ends. They love a guy to throw within the numbers, a guy that's just going to sit in the smash route and catch the ball right over the middle and not even gain a lot of yards after catch, just fall down. I think that would help him. And you're asking, well, what do you do with your rookie tight end, Gunnar Helm? Well, you let him develop. You let him learn under Chig Okonkwo. You let him learn under Kyle Pitts. And you have your 3rd tight end. But you let him develop for a little bit, get him to learn, and then bring him out next year, bring him out in 2027, and that's when he really gets under his feet and learns the NFL system, goes out there, and becomes a solid tight end. Now, Josh Whyle, that's a question that we're going to have to ask for a later time. I have no idea. Do you get rid of him? Do you trade him? That's a story for another day, but I'm worried about Kyle Pitts, Gunnar Helm, and Chig Okonkwo. Before we get on out of here, I got to ask you guys, name a player that you would want the Titans to trade for. It could be a tight end. It could be a running back. It could be a quarterback. Doesn't matter. Just name me one singular player that you would trade for that you think that would help this Tennessee team. That's going to do it for today's episode of Titans Today. Don't forget to hit that big red sub button. Subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'm your host, Brett Alper. Tighten up.